Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody is doing well and summertime is treating you great. I hope that you're getting to recharge your batteries and enjoy a little time off as we get ready for the 2017-2018 school year. But we're not going to be worried about that right now. We're going to be looking at a new tool this year that hopefully you can implement into your classroom for the upcoming school year, and it is called Actively Learn. Actively Learn. So we're going to go ahead and hop right in. As always, I always like to go ahead and be logged in to my Forsyth County Google Drive account. Actively Learn allows you to sign in with Google, so you don't have to have another password and username to remember, so that's really great. So we'll just go ahead and hop right over here to Actively Learn. We're going to run through this real quick. I'm going to give you a little bit about the tool and about how you could use it, and hopefully show you the student view on the end of it, so you can kind of see how this program works and hopefully wrap your mind around it. So let's go ahead and hop right in. Actively Learn. You can just hop into Google Actively Learn. It'll hop right up. This is what the login page looks like. We want to log in with Google. We want to log in with our Forsyth County account, and it's going to take us right to the dashboard. A couple things I want to point out real quick. Here on the left hand side, you got a toolbar, you got catalog, workspace, and then you've got your classes. If you go down and you look at your classes, you can see I've already uploaded all of my Google Classroom classes to that, and we'll kind of talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But that is a great thing, is to be able to add your classes in from Google Classroom, so you don't have to post a link and post a code for your students to join. So it's very easy. You just hop in, hit the plus button, add new classes, import classes from Google Classroom, and then you just pick your classes you want to import. You click this import button right here, it pulls them up. Now everybody is a part of your class, and the kids can log in using their sign in with Google option as well. So easy to implement, easy to get started, not a lot of work to do on the front end of things, so we can go ahead and get up and going. This is a space, to me, Actively Learn, it is a place to help students learn how to actively read. And help them be better readers, and give them tools to help them be better readers, so that they can begin to dissect text a little bit deeper than they typically have before. Because a lot of times when we hand kids a book or a worksheet, or even if we give them an article and we say, hey, go read this, they go through and they read, and they're not really retaining or reading at the depth that we want them to be able to read. So this is a great tool that's going to help us teach kids how to be efficient and effective readers, and that's really the goal here. So that's Actively Learn in a nutshell, kind of the purpose. But let's look at some of the tools and how it actually does what we're talking about. Like I said, I'll stay brief in this and hopefully show you the ins and outs real quick, and then you can hop on and play with it. There's so much to this tool, and they have lots of great tutorial videos for you to watch. So I really feel like I'm just gonna be scraping the surface for you today, but I should give you enough to be dangerous and use this tool in your classroom. And then as you guys get better and better at doing the basics, you can add in some of the more complicated things. Under the create assignment option, this is how you'll create assignments. Actively Learn has a great catalog, and they have tons and tons of articles for us to use with our kids. Lots of different things, all the way from current events to primary sources to informational text about different things. Like I said, you can find lots of different things for them to read. The Actively Learn is not completely free like other sites. They do have some pay for stuff. You can see here for the rental, there is a small fee for some things, but there's so much you can do for free that I don't even think you would ever have to worry about paying for it. But they've got some nice resources for science, current events, and you can see it's sectioned out here. And then you can also go down and filter upper elementary, middle school, high school, teacher professional development with an assignment. We'll talk more about assignments later, yes, no, with extra help. And then the page count, reading levels, they've got that. Common Core, standards, you can kind of break things up and hopefully get your search down to as specific as possible. Let's look for something in civil rights. I know that's something that we do here in 8th grade in Georgia Studies. Let's look at a little civil rights. And here's Martin Luther King, his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. And there's an article about it. And it's going to pull up this, so I just simply searched "I have a" or civil rights. That popped up, and it tells me that it's 5 pages long. And then I can click on it and get a little bit more information. It's 8th grade, 8th to 10th grade reading level. Has a brief synopsis of the text and kind of what it's going to entail, and then it says the teacher's also taught on these subjects below. Kind of gives you a little bit of maybe some segue into some other things you may want to look for. And then at the bottom it talks about the number of questions and the number of notes in the text. Now that may not make a lot of sense right now, but as soon as we pull the text up, it'll make more sense. And then at the bottom you can see that they've even attached standards to the article, so that's nice. If I want to see what the article looks like, I can hit preview. And on the preview, it'll pull it up, and we can take a little look and see what Actively Learn actually produces. This is the article. Actively Learn will take articles and turn them into into a layout that looks just like this. And you're able to add teacher directions, notes, questions, and things like that. So you can see right here, the teacher adds a little foreword and maybe a little bit of instructions about what she expects, and some things to consider while you're reading. And then it goes into the article. Now you can see in the article there's different places where it is highlighted different colors, and there are notes attached to the side. And you can click on these notes and pull them up and move them to the side or have them there, but it's almost like a little footnote that's attached to a sentence or so. So as a teacher, as I'm going through and reading, I can help kids begin to develop good habits as readers. I can help them see how to annotate, what thoughts to have while they're reading, or even as a teacher, it helps me interject thoughts that maybe the students may not have thought while they were reading. It just helps them stay engaged in what they're doing. Instead of just picking up a text and reading it, they're actually digging in and getting bits and pieces of information into it. And then after a little bit, after you read, you're able to throw a question in. And this article has questions and notes already built in, but this is what it says. It says, explain the 3 aspects of the shameful condition King mentions above. Support your explanation with evidence. And when we look at the student version, I'll show you what these questions actually look like, but it'll allow them to answer the question and submit it on there. More highlighted text, another question, and I'm just going to scroll through this real quick. More questions and highlighted text, and then when we get to the bottom, you can see how there's one more accumulating question down here at the bottom, and they've inserted a YouTube video. This is actually an option in this program as well, that you can embed videos in your question. Pretty awesome, pretty sweet. So that's what the text looks like, and that's what's there. You actually have a couple other neat little functions here at the top. It says text settings. If I can click on this, and I can change the spacing of the text, I can change the size of the text, I can change the font type, the background color, I can number paragraphs, and there's actually, if you look in there, there's Open Dyslexic, the font type. I don't know if you are familiar with this, but students that have maybe struggle with dyslexia, this font is actually supposed to help them read. And then they have dyslexic settings in the article. If we click that, it will actually format the article for those students, but I can just hit restore defaults there. So a lot of neat options there. Let's go ahead and add this article to our workspace, and it's added to our workspace, and I can go ahead and close this out. We've already added it, and we can go back and click over here to the left, and let's go back to our workspace, and we can see that it's added the I Have a Dream address over here. So let's go ahead and click this, and I can look at it, and every now and then it pops up with these messages, and they're helpful. They are, and it shows you how to kind of do what you're do some things where you're headed. So once again, some helpful stuff. Across here on the top, as you create assignments, you can see this bar that it helps you judge, do you have too many questions, do you have for how much text you have. So you don't want to ask too many questions, so this will kind of tell you that over here to the left, and it's green when it's really okay, yellow kind of it's okay, it's maybe bordering having too many, and then it'll turn red as you reach over here to the far right on the bar if you have too many questions. You can, like I said, we've already talked about some of these. You have authoring options and different things like that. We're not going to dive into all that, but you have your options up there as well. Now, once it's in my workspace, I can actually add additional questions and notes to this that I want. I can all you do to add a question or note is highlight text, and then it's going to automatically pop up with insert a question, insert note, insert link, white out. Okay, white out is we'll take out the text, insert a link. If there's a thought or maybe an image that's on the web that I feel like would help my students visualize or understand the text, I can insert a link to a website or to an image. I can insert a note, which we've talked about, and I can insert questions, which we've talked about as well. But I've put those questions too close together, but that's okay. But we'll look at adding a question a little bit later. So this one's set up, and it's all there and ready to go. So let's go ahead and go back, and let's look at how we can add some other content. So let's say you get onto the catalog, and the catalog has a lot of great things, but let's say you have something very specific that you want to add to Actively Learn for your kids. You can add content from the web, you can add content from your Google Drive, you can add a PDF file. And all you do is click add content here. Add internet article, import Google Doc, upload a PDF, and create a quiz. I'm not going to get into that, but this is how you upload content, is using this. And lucky for us, let's go import an internet article. It's going to pull up and ask for a URL. I have already got us a URL for the top family-friendly destinations in the United States for traveling. It's summertime. Figure everybody's out doing a little bit of traveling, so I thought that might be an appropriate article for today. I'll go ahead and paste that article in there, and you can see on this article over here that lots of pictures, and then there's advertisements and all this, that, and the other on the website. And let's see how it formats it when we actually take it there. So it'll pull it up. It's going to ask you for what grade level the text is, and for for what category things fall into in units and things like that. So I'll just select some random stuff. Let's throw it up there. I'll hit done. It's going to format this text, and now you can see that I've added the content to my workspace. So let's click on it and take a peek at it. Once again, got some helpful hints. Thanks, but no thanks right now for the helpful hint. And look at how it's formatted the text. It's done a really just nice job. It's beautiful. No advertisements, none of the extra junk at the bottom. It's just purely the pictures and the text that I wanted my students to read. At the beginning, when you're building something, it says add directions for students. So basically, I would just click here, and I can type in my directions for what I want them to do. Please read the article below. And and go on and so forth. And then there's that add media button. I can put in my image, URL for an image or URL for a video. So if I have a YouTube video that maybe introduces the topic or a picture that I want to go with it, that's what I would do. I can just insert that. We looked at that where they had Martin Luther King video right there at the bottom attached in. So I'll just hit save. I can add a pre-reading question. I really like this idea, especially for this particular one. So I can select standards for my questions, or I don't have to, but I can. You have different types of questions: short answer, multiple choice, or a poll question. You can make a poll and kind of get students' opinions. But let's say for this that we're reading an article about traveling. So let's say I want them, where are you going this? I can type. I'm going this summer. Okay, where are you going this summer? And then there's options. I can add media, I can add extra help, I can add a DOK level, I can add another standard. I can make this question worth more than another one. So where are you going this summer? Hit save. It's going to insert the question there for the kids to see once a pre-reading question. And then as I go through, like I said before, if I want to add questions, all I got to do is highlight where I want, and I can hit insert a note, and I can type a note here. Alright, and then add media. You have all the same options again, and then as I'm there, it highlights the text, and I can continue to add notes and type some stuff in, and then I can get to a place where I feel like there's an end, and I can add a question, and then once again, same options: multiple choice. I can add as many choices as I want. I can do a poll. I can randomize the choices for the students. All right, so like I said before, some of the upgrades let you do a little bit more, but that's an upgrade, so we'll just avoid that. Not a deal breaker there to me. I can still get the job done. I can go in, and like I said, I can do all those things. So let's insert a couple more questions here and there. Let's go down a little bit more. It tries to help you be smart in how you're planning your questions, and maybe hopefully not stacking too many questions up one after the other. So we'll scroll down a little bit more so it doesn't get on to me again. We'll accidentally use the whiteout tool. I didn't mean to do that. Just remove it there. Yes, add the question, and you can see across the top, and what I'm trying to get it to do is you can see how I added too many questions. Now it's telling me, whoa, too many questions for the amount of reading that you have. So it's kind of, it doesn't make me stop adding questions, but it does kind of alert me and say, hey, you may want to think about how many questions that you have. So this is too many. If I want to remove it, all I got to do is click on the question and then click delete, and you can see my bar went back down to a nice nice level right there. So let's insert some other notes. Not a question. Let's insert some notes here. Another note inserted, and we're about to wrap this up with building this article. Okay, and then you get to the bottom and it says add a question to the end of the section. So I can have one final thought or one final cumulative question that I want for the students. I may ask a poll. I may do something else. I may ask them for their opinion, like on a vote. What do you think the best vacation spot is? And I would have all the options they have and have them vote. But there it is. I just built that, and there's that assignment. So I built that off of an article, off of the internet, and very easy to use. Once again, got my same questions. I can change the margin spacing. I can make the text much bigger. I can make the background blue if that's something you want. I can number the paragraphs. I can do, once again, you have the dyslexic settings and things like that. So lots of different options here, and you can make it easy to read for your kids if you have some different settings that you want to kind of throw in there. Let's go ahead and go back. So I've created that. So I have two things that I've made, and then once again, like I said before, you can import Google Docs and you can upload your own personal PDF articles that you have and do the same exact thing that we just did. It literally works the same exact way. You can go in and pull it off of your H drive and put it on there, and it literally does all the things that you would that you would use we would just have done in that same internet article that we used. So there are my two actively learn documents that I've made. So now let's talk about how we get them to our students. So now we want to assign them. So let's go ahead and look at assigning this particular one that we just made. So let's go to assign, and then basically it's going to ask you to click on which ones you want. You can assign more than one article at a time. I could assign both of these at once if I wanted to. So let's go ahead and assign them both. So we'll click. So these are the ones I want to assign. Then it's going to pop up with my classes. So these are all my Google Classrooms that I have imported in. I'm going to assign this to ELA Section 2. I can do as many classes or as few classes as I want. I'm going to click assign, and I have assigned this to my Google Class, and it says posting your assignments as drafts in Google Classroom. So it has posted my assignment as a draft, so I'll actually have to go back and activate the assignment in Google Classroom. So we'll go back and look at that in just a second. So I can post these links right here for these assignments straight to my It's Learning page if I'm not a Googler, if I'm not a Google Classroom kind of person. I can post these straight onto It's Learning and they can get the assignments. Or I can go back to my ELA, and let's go ahead and refresh this page real quick. And save these as drafts in my Google Classroom. So if you've never used that before, up here at the top it says Save Post where my drafts are, and there is my I Have a Dream address. So I can do this. I can just assign it to my classroom, and I can take the same one and I can assign it to my classroom. And now I have assigned my two Actively Learn assignments to my kids in Google Classroom. So now they would just come in here and they would click there and it would submit it through Google Classroom. So nice integration there with a very popular tool. All right, let's look at this from a student perspective, and let's take a peek at what it looks like when one of our kiddos logs in and they're using Actively Learn. So what I've already kind of done here is I've logged in for one of my kids that's in this particular class that I've gone ahead and assigned this assignment to. And what they see when they log in is they see anything that's been assigned to them by whatever class they're in. He only has one class in Actively Learn. Now, if this is something that were to catch on and several teachers use, then he would have multiple classes and he would have to check multiple classes in Actively Learn. Now, like I said before, there are a couple different ways that we can share assignments with students. We can upload it to Google Classroom and add it as an assignment there. We can use the links and we can add those links to It's Learning on our planner on It's Learning. Or we can tell our students to log into Actively Learn and to check our class for assignments. And any assignment that they haven't done yet, it will say unanswered for. Now, I went ahead and answered the I Have a Dream address here just so you could see the difference between an assignment that they have completed and one that they haven't. So an assignment that they haven't done is flagged, and it's very easy for them to see what they have and have not worked on. So let's go ahead and hop in from a student standpoint in our top family-friendly vacation space. So here we go. I have a pre-reading question. So before they can even start reading, they have to answer this question. So once they answer, then it's going to load the rest of the document, and they can see what we've loaded, and they can see the notes that we've taken, and they can see the questions that we have. So the next question's up. So in order to continue reading, I'm going to have to hit the answer to the question and hit submit, and it's going to tell me if I got it right, and it's going to let me kind of see what's going on. So as they continue reading, they'll go down, they'll see the notes and all that, like I've already said, and they'll keep reading. And then once they reach the bottom and they get to the accumulating question there at the bottom, the poll, they'll submit their response. They can kind of see the class results, and now they've finished. So let's look at a couple other things. So we see how it looks from the assignment standpoint, but what they can do as they read, they can do a couple of different things in their assignment. They're able to highlight text. And then they can highlight and take their own notes, and they can write their own notes here. They have the ability to share this note with the class. They have the ability to add media. They have the ability to take notes to help them remember what they're reading. Also in here, they have the ability to highlight and say, I don't understand. And this flags this question. And if I switch back to the teacher view real quick, and I go into the assignment, so back as a teacher here, in my workspace, if I go to the class that this student's in, and I click on the article, it's going to pull up the article that they've submitted. So I can see this particular students. I can see all the students in my class that has their answers, but I'm able to just specify it down to this particular young man, and I can see his answers, and then I can actually see on his article where he's flagged this, and it tells me who flagged this particular text, and it lets me know if what they're struggling with and how to help them. So pretty neat right there. So back to the student view, so we can flag that. And they can also go through and they can highlight words that they don't know and tell it to define it, and then it will give them a definition. I guess I should have picked a better word there, so let's say nailed right here. So there's the definition of nail, but it'll pull up a definition for them. There's also a translate option. If there's something there that they don't understand, it'll help translate for them. So a lot of cool student tools that'll actually read it to them as well if you click hear it. And you can kind of hear it reading, hopefully with my speakers, but it will read it to them. So a lot of cool, neat things there. Now the students particularly, they can go in and change if they want the text to be bigger. They can customize it for them. So a lot of cool tools. One more quick thing on the student side of the bridge here is that they have this independent reading section. So even if you want them to just read an article, what they can do is they can just come back in and say, hey, or you can, as a teacher, you can say, hey, I don't have an assignment for you, but I want you to go in and I want you to read an article inside of Actively Learn, and I want you to give it a review, and I want you to put it out there. So basically what they would do is they would review the article, and then they would rate it with the star ratings you can see here, and they would type a review and submit it, and then that would be a good way for them to pick up some of their own independent reading habits. So a lot of cool things there. So that's the basics on Actively Learn. I hope you got something out of it. I think it's a great tool that will help us teach our kids how to be better readers, and how to really go through and dissect a text. Well, that's it for me here. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your summer, and I hope you get to use Actively Learn next year in your classroom. Have a great break.